everyone, it's so nice to see you again. I am sitting here with my blue chair, which means I'm going to be talking to you about art supplies. I did a video like this a couple months ago in which I described my favorite art supplies of the moment, and that is what I will be doing again. So the last time I talked with you, I had a lot of new supplies. This time I don't have a lot of new, a couple, but a lot of the things I'm going to, or a couple of things I'm going to be sharing with you are things that I already own that I've kind of refallen in love with. So that's always cool, right? For the first item that I will be talking with you about, it is going to be one of those objects that I've had in my collection for a long time, but have recently gotten really interested in using again, and that is my bamboo calligraphy pen. Looks just like this, made of bamboo. It's bamboo reed actually, and I had this when I was in college for one of my foundation drawing classes and used it with India ink. But honestly, since that specific class, I really hadn't touched it much until recently, when I have been kind of getting myself really interested in more with the hand lettering and the illustration and all that. So I've been using this because, quite honestly, it was just there, and I just hadn't really had much of a foundation for how to use it, so I just thought I would just kind of teach myself how to use it and learn kind of the ins and outs of this wonderful tool. And basically what I kind of come to find is that, unlike a traditional calligraphy nib, which is made primarily of metal, it's a lot more difficult to control because it's very rigid. The ends are obviously made of wood, so they're not going to be as flexible as some of the metal nibs from calligraphy pens, which basically means that if you wanted to have a very nice distinction between your thick and thin lines for your up and your down strokes, you would just apply pressure for traditional calligraphy pens. But for a bamboo pen, you have to really switch your grip to achieve a different line quality. And what ends up happening is you kind of get some funky things happening, like some blobs or some just inconsistent lines. And what I find very interesting about that is, because this is such a rigid tool, your lines end up looking really free and very uncontrolled. So kind of that duality of those ideas coming together in this pen. I just think that having a really freeing line quality is something that I'm a little bit more interested in making these days, and so this has been helping quite a bit with that. Okay, so the next item I'm going to be talking with you about is something that I think every single artist should own, and that is a ruler. It has been the biggest game changer, I think, in my art making as of late. You know, it sounds so silly because rulers are such a foundational item to have in your toolbox, but I really hadn't used mine very much. And I think it's just like so silly because your work is so much better when you use a ruler. Like, that's probably my number one tip for people who are getting interested in hand lettering and illustration or anything along those lines, just drawing. Is to get yourself a ruler and really use your ruler. I just find that when you create good foundation, whether you want it to be straight or crooked or whatever, but creating those sort of parameters will just make your work look so much better. The one I use and love is the T-square. This T-square that is a transparent plastic. This is so awesome because you can just anchor the end of your paper at the T, and then you can just use, the ruler to mark your lines or mark your measurements, and just being able to see through it's super handy. I have another ruler that I also like. It is a metal with a cork back. I use that for cutting primarily, but this one I use for drawing. It's just super great. It was only like $2 at Blix, maybe $1, I can't really remember, but these things are dirt cheap, and huge return on investment when it comes to payoff. So get yourself a ruler, man. Do it. Okay, so the next item I'm going to be talking with you about is it is a masking fluid. Yeah, it's a masking fluid. I was trying to think of a different way to intro that, but I can't. So masking fluid basically will be a really great tool if you want to preserve an area of your drawing or your painting while adding a lot of color to a background. So a really great way to use this is with like lettering, if you want to have like really clean, crisp letters, but you want the background to be like all one color or a variant of colors. So I have the Peebo drawing gum, got it at Blick's. I think it was like $6, $6, $7-ish. So not that bad price-wise. There's a lot in here. What you do is you take a paintbrush and you paint it over the areas of your paper or your drawing that you would like to preserve, and you just wait for that to dry, which doesn't take long. And then you take your watercolor or whatever ink you're using, and then you can paint directly on top of it, and nothing will penetrate this drawing gum. And once your work is then dry or finished, you can easily remove this with an eraser, a soft eraser, and then you'll have your work just perfectly preserved, and you can either add extra color to that or just leave it white depending on whatever paper color it is. You can just leave it as is. And they actually make this fluid come in like a pen, and I'd be really interested in getting that because then you can make your lines super, super precise. But using this as a paint is actually really nice too if you have a pretty good handle on paintbrush use. Alright, so kind of on the same note of painting and that kind of thing, I have some paints to share with you. This is a palette of 28 from Artist Loft at Michael's. It was pretty cheap. I can't remember the exact price, but I believe it was 10, maybe 12, maybe less than that. Honestly, I don't remember. But this color palette, or this paint palette, is actually a very, very, very good investment for those who are really new to watercolor, because it offers a lot of variety of color and really pretty good quality. I'm not an expert at watercolor. I'm actually kind of a noob. I'm just getting into it. So that's what really attracted me to it, is the price and the color range. But I actually had heard from people who are pretty seasoned watercolorers, and that they really enjoy this palette. So I would definitely agree. I like that it has a very wide range of colors for a pretty inexpensive price tag. And the buildability of these colors is great. You can very easily mix colors in it as well, and the top portion acts as a palette. So I think that's also a very neat little add-on. And I'm really excited to use this more. I just think that having all these colors is so exciting. I love color. The kind of paper that I've been really loving lately has been from Rhodia. Wah! Rhodia is great paper for people who are really interested in like brush lettering or calligraphy. And the reason why I got these were basically for those two reasons. I had really wanted a pad of paper that I could use my calligraphy pens on that wouldn't catch so much because of the texture of the paper. These papers are very smooth, and when you use a calligraphy nib, the ink and the pen tend to glide so much smoother than on like a drawing pad. So that was the main reason why I wanted to buy these, was for calligraphy and for brush lettering. I use my Tombow Duo pens on this paper all the time, and I love the effect it gives if you have a lighter color marker, because it just gives so much buildability. Like, you can really see the layers of color reflected through the paper, as opposed to in a drawing pad where it just all kind of just sinks in the paper. So I think that is just such a gold star for these pads. And this one, I have two pads because this one is a blank pad. I got this one first. It comes with 80 sheets of paper, and it's completely blank. There's no lines or anything on it. I like that because I think my comfort level is unlined paper. I just think it's more freeing. I don't feel as mentally bogged down by it. And then the second pad I got was a dot pad. Also 80 sheets, and the dots look like this. Yeah, there you go. So pretty light. They don't really intrude too much, but they provide a really great structure to your lettering practice or your drawing practice, just by having dots that are in a straight line. And like the ruler, I just think it gives you a lot more control over your practice. Both of these I got at Blix. They are also easily found online, such as Amazon. And they're both really not that expensive. I believe this one was like $6, and I believe this one was like $8 to $10. So really not that bad for 80 sheets of paper. I thought I'd burn through this so much faster, and I really haven't. Like, it's really lasted a long, long, long time. But I just am really excited to keep going with this paper brand for this type of work. I just been really leaning hard on this paper, more so than my other paper these days. So yeah, gold stars for these for sure. Okay, that's gonna wrap up this video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had some nice ideas of what to maybe get yourself next time you go to the art supply store, or things to put on your Christmas list or holiday list for gifts to buy for your artsy friends. Yeah, leave me a comment below about anything that you have been really interested in lately with art supplies, and because I'd really like to read about it, honestly. And I hope you are having a great day, and keep on creating. Bye!